ToonGrin.com.
This space thing gets old real fast. And where the hell are GenVamp and Whyboy? They're late for their review. Ugh. Unprofessional. What's wrong with you? My juice box exploded. Ah, I see. And I joined unitology. Video games. I've played a lot of them in my time. A lot of shooters, action, adventure, and all that sort of stuff. But those horror games have always given me like the huge creeps. So I didn't really know how to confront Dead Space downfall. So I asked my pal GenVamp to come in and help me out. He's a reviewer who does movies, TV shows, and video games, and he's basically a jack of all trades sort of guy. So I'm glad to have him on the show. What's your experience with Dead Space? Me personally, I haven't played a single Dead Space game. I know a few of the story bits from reviews and all that, but what's the story of Dead Space to you?
Basically, it's a survival horror sort of deal, but it's more action-adventure, meaning you play as a guy named Isaac Clarke. You're answering a distress signal, and from there, basically, you end up facing off against necromorphs. There's a variety of them. And here's the thing, what that I could say. I've actually played some survival horror games, but I'm not exactly big on a lot of them. Dead Space was just kind of meh to me, so I wasn't looking forward too much to Downfall because I kept putting it off. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but now that I see it, it's short and kind of dull to me.
Yes, way to spoil the review already, but whatever. Here's the summary of the prequel. Don't say sorry now. That Ishimura basically goes to the planet and basically finds the whole, evil relic of this whole series that's basically screwed over the universe. The marker, as they call it. They bring it on board, and they're basically doing all this sort of experiments on it, just trying to figure out what it is. But then everything goes wrong, and I mean everything goes wrong. Everyone starts dying, they kill each other, the necromorphs start to appear out of nowhere, and now we have the security team led by Alyssa Vincent, just trying to survive and get off the ship and basically save everyone. It's basically this slasher movie in space, where, here's the spoiler for you, no one survives, because it's a prequel movie. If anyone did survive, that would be pretty weird.
Yeah, which pretty much is to clue you in from the game perspective as to what went on, I guess. But it feels rushed and dull, like I said before. It really isn't as good as I was expecting it to be. And this was to reach direct-to-video, so I don't get it.
It just creates a whole movie where there's no stakes to it, so you don't really care about any of these characters, especially when Alyssa Vincent's team is all basically a bunch of stock characters.
Yep.
My favorite was Big Black Guy. Oh, wonderful big black guy, and how we got totally cut out so horribly and then replaced with Indian guy.
I know, but I kind of like Indian guy. The only thing I don't like is that he was a unitologist, and the unitologists are basically creating this culture built around the marker, which we all know is obviously BS.
It's an evil, red glowing thing, but I
Yes.
guess humans in this future are just very freaking stupid. But more on point with the movie, the whole story of it is basically what we said. It's basically horror movie in space. The monster gets on the ship, slaughters everybody, and then everyone has to die. So there's no real sort of stakes to it. But with Indian Guy, there was something that I really liked about the character of Alyssa Vincent. She was just a very sort of spunky sort of character. She really wanted to go out of her way to save everybody. She was just that sort of noble-hearted. And even her some of the stock characters had sort of their cool moments. It also devoid into I had to sacrifice myself in the most noble way possible. And it comes off as sort of forced in that sort of sense.
Yes, but not only that, we also find out one thing. Humans getting experimented on and turning into necromorphs. But unfortunately, like most of the characters that are stock and lightly touched upon, this also falls into the lightly touched upon category. Yeah, it's pretty dang upsetting. She did eventually make a video at the end where she explained that the marker brought chaos to the Ishimura, and that the marker and the artifact or whatever just need to be destroyed. We can just see that pretty much, I guess, ties everything together in a nutshell. It's about as lame as the Thing prequel, basically.
And it's just about as substantial as the Thing prequel. And just softly touch upon the animation styling. Like, I don't know what to really think of it. Sometimes the animation can be really, like, cheap to it. Like, with very simple, like, shapes to it and all that. It basically jumps out of place. But then although, like, the character designs are pretty, like, stylized to them, which I really like. Alyssa's character design is actually pretty good, if I do say so myself. Even though, like, that whole, like, half-shirt thing it looks really weird, even though everyone has the life bar on their backs.
Oh yes, that's a staple of the series, which is exactly what Isaac has.
Yeah, but it's not connected to anything.
I know!
She just puts it on, it's like, oh, yep, that completely, totally registers my health.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so weird.
Yeah, it's just trying to look cool over actually being practical.
Yes. One thing I can also say, considering what this movie has, it has some problems with its action scenes a little bit. Like, aside from some characters making stupid decisions, because there's plenty of dumb decisions being made by the characters too, considering their stock background. I mean, that's really what they are.
Yeah. It's a horror movie in space. You have to really expect these sort of stupid decisions, or you wouldn't see all of them die.
I doubt it would bring in anyone new, unfortunately, because for those who are already used to sci-fi, horror, and the Dead Space games in general, may find something here to enjoy, but I really doubt anyone new would be all that interested.
Now, speaking as someone who doesn't play the Dead Space games or anything, this is just a really dull movie to me. Like, especially when you hear, like, this is supposed to be a prequel movie, I just immediately think, like, oh, no one's going to survive this if it's a prequel.
You know what's even more upsetting at the fact that this movie is dull? Chuck Patton, a decent animator/comic artist, made this, and he also was responsible for the original G.I. Joe animated series from 1989, the Teen Titans TV show, The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, and Inspector Gadget Saves Christmas, which I hope you will cover that last one.
I'll think about it, yes. That is pretty sad to hear, like someone that has like such a good like roster to him creates something that's more dull to it. But in a way, dull is kind of better than being bad, but at the same time dull is worse than bad, because dull becomes forgettable. Dull is just like something that you just push out of your mind immediately.
That's true. However, I get what you're saying. Dull is like forgettable. It doesn't even put out of your mind at all. That's true. Actually, I never thought of it like that. However, I kind of disagree because, to me, the worst kind of movie is generally something more upsetting. The ones that are more on the awful spectrum, I think, are worse than dull because, you know.
Oh, well, obviously something that makes you like, oh god, this is disgusting, this is despicable. Of course that registers a more emotional level to it. I'm mostly saying, like, from a practical, like, let's make this movie to basically sell to the public. A dull movie doesn't get bought at all. It's a movie that basically ends up in the bargain bin. At least a disgusting movie gets, like, the interested people. It's like, oh, this is disgusting, let me check this out.
Aside from having Dead Space in the title, there's not much else, aside from sci-fi and horror fans that might find it enjoyable.
So, Dead Space Downfall is a downfall. It's too dull to even watch for fans or non-fans. Just play the games.
Ishimura, are you reading? Ishimura, prepare to be boarded.